Hello, this is Jessica Kahrs, and this is the presentation of my music program fundraising project for the final project of EDP 632. The project begins with the introduction, and it begins with an opening video that the students will respond to using their daily journals that we have in class on their Google Classroom page. These responses will be followed by peer postings on the discussion board, as well as a whole group discussion of their feelings about music education advocacy. That discussion will then lead into our groups being split. I've decided to split the groups based on their reading and math abilities due to the fundraising perspective of the project later on, and having to deal with money and decisions based on that. The group goals will then be determined, and then we will use group contracts will be discussed and then signed based on the performance rubrics that we have at the end of the presentation. From there, the groups will start their brainstorming about their group perspective. So they're going to start by discovering their perspective on what they think music education should be like in schools. And they're going to do that through researching different national and state advocacy organizations, as well as research for music education and the advocacy of it in school. They'll start with using a Padlet for their brainstorming and organizing their brainstorming and ideas. That moves on to their group perspective. So their final product for that will be a group perspective. So after their brainstorming, they're going to create a shared Google Doc to create a formal group perspective about their views on the importance of music education. And they're going to post those to Google Classroom to allow for peer review and revision, as well as formative assessment by the teacher. That leads into another discussion area / mini lesson, if you want to call it that, that's going to really move into the driving question of the larger aspect of the project, which is the fundraising discussion. We'll start with a journal entry based on this video here of a young middle school student talking about budget cuts to fine arts programs. And that will go into a class discussion of how funding cuts affect music education and what we can do about it, which is the large driving question for this project. How can we design a fundraising initiative for our community to advocate music education in our school? From that driving question is where we get the rest of the project. The students begin brainstorming their ideas for a fundraising plan using another Padlet where they can organize their ideas. So they're going to research different fundraising initiatives and plans, not just in music, but in other areas as well, to formulate ideas and understand the format of fundraising. From there, you can have mini lessons or money managing mini lessons that can be used to scaffold their understanding of what fundraising is and how they're going to create a plan for it. They can also use Google Forms, surveys, and interviewing to gain the viewpoint of the student body, the staff, the administration, and community members to really put input into what the school needs and how they're going to fundraise for it. A reflection and formative assessments, so how the students are going to reflect on what they've done. So the group Padlets will be posted on Google Classroom for peer review, and as well as instructor review, obviously, so that the students can see what other people are doing and then go back and revise what they've got, or review or give ideas and collaborate with their other students that are working on the same thing. The daily journal entries that I will be doing will also provide students with individual reflection on their project and how they're feeling about what they're doing. There's also collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity innovation rubrics that will have been discussed before the project begins and can be used by the teacher for formative assessment throughout the process. Next, once they've gathered all their research and used their storyboards to plan out their fundraising proposal, they're going to use Google Slides to create their final proposal. And this is also going to be posted on Google Classroom. So they will use Screencastify to record their oral presentation so that it can be posted through electronic means for a wider audience. And finally, publication. Those recorded proposals will be posted on Google Classroom for peer viewing and evaluation, and they can also be sent to administration and community members in electronic form or through the school website or school social media as a public forum. And then finally, assessment-wise, I'll be using group presentation rubrics that I found through the PBL Works resources. So that will be a group presentation rubric as well as the creativity and innovation, collaboration, and critical thinking rubric. I really liked all of these rubrics because I thought they really encompassed the different aspects of creativity that the students would be able to show using project-based learning. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation.